Hello and welcome everybody to Sound Off with Sinkoff. I'm your host, Brian Sinkoff. Thanks so much for joining us here today. Of course, Sound Off is sponsored by the Sinkoff Realty Group, a full-service real estate firm serving the entire Capital Region. Well, speaking of Capital Region, a Capital Region resident joins us right now, Brian Sweeney from a hotel room in Minnesota. Brian is the pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals. Brian, it is so good to see you, man. Thanks for joining Sound Off with Sinkoff.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Brian. I appreciate it.
So, Brian, of course, let's talk before we get into Brian's background. Let's talk a little bit about the Royals. Is there a bigger surprise in baseball? Currently, as of this taping, 3.5 games back at Cleveland in the AL Central. Unbelievable improvement from last year's team. 56 wins a year ago. Bobby Witt Jr., one of the best players in baseball. Salvador Perez, amazing year. The pitching, which is where Brian comes in, 3.39 ERA right now, fifth best in the majors. Brian, your team won 56 games a year ago. You're now, as of today, kind of in that playoff mix, one of the top echelon teams in the American League. What a difference a year makes. Tell us a little bit about what's been the difference for this club.
Yeah, it's not a surprise for us, right? This is what we had been planning on. Definitely a better start to the year than last year as we get a third of the way through, close to that. It's been fun watching these guys create the culture, the winning culture that we've all been looking for. And yeah, we didn't win. You know, how many? We have 35 wins. We didn't win our 35th game until like August 1st of last year. So that's a better feeling for a coach. And, you know, the guys that we brought in, the Seth Lugos, the Michael Wakas, the Will Smiths in the bullpen, been there, done that before. Having that veteran presence around is almost like having an extra coach. They know how to win. They know how to act and know how to get through a professional season and able to help out the young guys. Invaluable experience for us. And really giving a year in gives me the opportunity to continue to gain their trust and to be able to teach, right? Because there has to be a relationship there in order to teach and you have to have that trust factor.
Brian, how hard is it? Because you often hear, I'm 53. You're kind of my generation. I had a wrestling coach. The old school wrestling coach would pound you, and more push-ups, more sit-ups. It's not like that anymore. Coaching kids, coaching young men. How has that been for you? Coaching athletes, let's face it, make probably a whole heck of a lot more than you do, and they're of a different mindset. Is that tough for you to make that adjustment?
Yeah, I guess it is tough, right? Because you're learning. It's more of an individualized approach. You're learning individuals. Each individual is different. We have guys that have 10 years in the major leagues that are in their mid 30s. And then we have guys that are in their early 20s that only have a couple of years in the major leagues or none at all. And how you speak to them is different. How they were coached is different. So having a different coach approach is quite important. So you need to have more than one tool in your bag to respond to these guys and how they go about their business. So I was lucky to grow up with coaches that gave some tough love. So I know that end of it. I know what that looks like. And then being a part of, coming up in a minor league system with the Phillies as a coach, moving on to Cleveland, where they used a little bit of very innovative, combining experience and innovation has really been my favorite way to go about things.
So Brian became the Royals pitching coach for the 2023 season. You were hired in December of 22. We mentioned last year, the tough year, 56 wins. I think, I'm a baseball fan. I love the sport, Brian, and I know you can appreciate that. And I think seeing what your organization, what the Royals have done, it honestly just, it makes me warm and fuzzy, man. It like puts a smile on my face because I love the fact that you're not, $1 billion team. You're not getting all these crazy free agents year in and year out. And you guys have sort of, I want to say, quote unquote, done it the right way. That has to give you and your team and the guys on your staff a sense of pride, doesn't it?
I mean, I think it's important to know that everybody's involved in this, right? It's not just a coaching staff. We have an owner that's on board that had to okay these signings. We did spend some money in the offseason.
Yep,
People were
you did.
surprised, but I think that's what you do when you try to improve a team, right? You want to develop players from within. It's okay, where are our gaps, right? And then you try to fill those gaps to make us a well-rounded team. So the vision of JJ Piccolo, our GM, and the vision of our owner, Mr. Sherman, just was fantastic this offseason. We got our butts kicked last year, and it was really important. We got together 5 days after the season, right? After getting your butts kicked, you kind of want to just go home and just,
right.
You want to forget about things, but that wasn't, I think, the right thing to do for us. We needed to learn from that. How are we going to learn? Shoot, we brought the organization together. We all went to Arizona. There's about 200 of us from all different domains, and our general manager JJ gave us a true north. It's like, all right, this is who we want to be. This is going to be our vision and our direction. All right, how can each department work around us? Do we agree or disagree? We left that place with a direction, right? And then we went to work. Baseball isn't just a spring and summertime thing. Hopefully fall thing as well for the Royals. It's a year-round thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're acquiring people, you're building systems, you're getting better in each area, you're hiring the right people. We did that last off season. Great collaboration, great effort by everybody, and we're seeing the fruits of that labor. But again, this is a long season, 162 games.
Yep.
Sustaining this is really important.
So, Brian, of course, some people listening to this podcast may know that Brian has some Capital Region ties. Brian currently lives in Clifton Park with his lovely wife, Connie, their two daughters, great family, Brian. And your manager, your boss, is Matt Quattrero, who is my family and I, we live in Slingerlands. He's a Bethlehem High grad. He's got a lot of contacts still in the community. I just think that is so cool that you got a Section 2 guy, a Capital Region guy as the skipper of one of the Major League Baseball teams, and you're a Capital Region guy now. You have a residence here, and you're the pitching coach. Like, the odds of that are just astronomical. But other than maybe you and Matt passing here and there, it's not like you guys grew up together. So how did that relationship come about, your connection with Matt, and then ultimately getting that Royals pitching coach job?
Yeah, isn't that kind of crazy? Two people from the Capital District now on the same staff of a major league team. You might have a better chance of winning the lotto than that happening. The baseball community, when I first moved to the Capital District, back in the late 90s, was kind of small. A little bit smaller. Facilities were being built, and because of the weather, and you just kind of knew people that were involved in the game. And I had met Matt. I needed somebody to throw with. He needed somebody to throw with. He needed to practice his catching. So we threw together a couple of times, became, it's like just good dude, right? It was a really good dude. He went on in his playing career. I went on with mine. Didn't see him very many times in the offseason. One time we went out to lunch, but we'd see each other as coaches. When I came with Cleveland to Tampa, we'd always say hello. A lot of chatting, just good people. And with our connection to the Capital District, he was really easy to talk to. I'm like, Matt's a good dude. Wouldn't you know it? I got the opportunity to interview with him, and I fooled him, and he chose me as his pitching coach. And hopefully we can keep that relationship growing.
Brian, I mean, you're a modest guy, but you have got to be a guy credited with some of this turnaround. The Royals, I mean, if somebody mentions the Royals, the initial thought is, yeah, right. And then you look at them and you're like, wow, their ERA 3.39, fifth best in the majors, tied for fifth. Brian, what's been the turnaround? You've had some career years. You got Raggins. You have some guys that are having some amazing years. But what do you think has been the turnaround with this pitching staff?
I think it's important to know that being a pitching coach is definitely not a one-man job anymore.
Right.
During my interview, I wanted to let them know that I couldn't do this by myself. I would love a pitching team around me. And that includes an assistant pitching coach, a bullpen coach, the assistants, newer in the game, been around maybe 10 years or so, where you have that third pitching coach. It used to be the pitching coach, bullpen coach. Then you got some bullpen catchers, and, there's too much information. It's irresponsible of us to think that we can do it on our own. We need good people around us, smart people with diversity of thought, right, to help bring in the ideas to help make guys better. So assistant pitching coach, bullpen coach, analyst, and then strategists, guys that are during the game that are seeing things from a different angle. Having all of those views makes us better, and that was important for me to have around. I don't know. I'd probably get fired in 2 weeks if I had to do this on my own. I have really good people around me. I'm really lucky. But again, it extends beyond the pitching team, right? We go into the R&D department. We also have strength and conditioning, the medical department, nutrition, our behavioral science. It's a well-rounded base that we have to help make the players better. And that when I decided to become a pitching coach, I'm like, I think this is the best way to go about things, this holistic approach. And that's how we're doing it here in KC.
Brian, I'm 53. I followed sports since I was 8 years old, and I don't know, and you're going to laugh, I don't know what a pitching coach does, right? So
that's good. I like to think so it's perfect.
No, can you, I probably know more than the average person what you do, but can you explain what it is you do? Like, obviously you're looking at the development, the growth of the entire staff. And, I know you're working with individuals and certain guys are working, but explain what it is you do, man, on a daily basis.
Yeah. I think it's changed over the years. I was lucky enough to have, when I came to Cleveland, there were some veteran coaches there. Terry Francona.
Yep.
As a manager, I get to see how he communicates with players and, why he was so successful. Carl Willis, 20 years as a major league pitching coach. Got to see it in the beginning. He coached me when I was in Seattle. He was my pitching coach in Seattle. So I got to see him before data and information and then go through it and then after. What a learning experience I had with him. I had like a paid internship to learn how to be a pitching coach with Carl Willis,
wow.
He's a mentor of mine who I still keep in contact with. So you see, it used to be, all right, it's like, all right, all we do is teach. Well, what's important for me, right? The environment has to be right. We want an environment where these guys have the freedom to be themselves, right? Because everybody's an individual, and they'll show it to you. They want to be that, right? And nowadays, in that environment, we have to communicate, right? Extremely important. Deliver information, and then teach. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. A lot of computer work. I didn't realize when you got into baseball, you can do a lot of work on a computer. From video to going through the data. And when people think of data, it's not like this crazy, crazy analytics. Sometimes it's like, what percent of your fastball do you use inside versus outside in the zone? Right? So we've got a 10% inside, we've got 90% away. It's like, okay, now we have information. That's data. Right. We take that data and we use it to help them make the pitcher better. It can be as simple as that. It's like, wow, all your fastballs are away. They're leaning out over. You might want to throw some more sinkers inside. Boom. That's part of our teaching. But we have that now. It's at our fingertips where we don't have to look at a chart and use a calculator and figure it out ourselves. We have a department or we have systems that we can look at. It's like, wow, this is, you can see it right on your computer screen. So a lot of our work is before the game. Once the game gets here, that's the easy part. That's fun, right? Because we're prepared. I've talked to Q about what it might look like, even though the day changes very quickly. The pitching part changes very quickly during the game. We're prepared before the game. We've done our walkthrough, kind of like in football. And when the game starts, you adapt and adjust from there, and you let the guys go play. If you're trying to teach or tell them what to do in the moment, you're a little bit late coming to the game.
So, Brian, I'm throwing up a photo here now. You could probably see it on your screen.
Oh,
you're visiting the mound here. When you do that, obviously the second visit or when it's time to make the sub, Quattro or your Q, your manager comes out and makes the substitution. What are you typically saying? Who are you speaking with here? Is that?
We got Alec Marsh, one of our pitchers, and Freddie Fermin, our catcher. Okay. I think that time I was saying, "Hey, Alec, I appreciate it. I wanted to get on TV tonight for my for my dad and my wife. So thanks for getting me some TV time. I
No,
think
what do you like? Are you just telling them to calm down? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what do you,
I'm trying to
what's
figure out
kind of,
where that is, and when that. Oh, that's last year's. That's last year's pullover. So we're talking. That's 2023. I made
yeah,
a lot of mound visits in 2023.
yeah, you did.
I got
You
out
did.
there. I was out there a good amount, and it depends on the guy.
Right.
The mound visits. Some guys just need straight, honest answers. Other guys, I'll try to make a joke and break the tension. Sometimes I go out and give a breather. It looks like who knows what face I'm making there. Maybe I'm trying to make him smile. Come out with a scouting report. Alec he's a guy that needs it direct. He needs a kick in the ass sometimes, and that sets him back straight. So learning that that individual is extremely important. This guy, Alec Marsh, came up as he could barely play catch in spring training. He was, he had his first major league camp, would come in, and he's got Zach Greinke around him, all these veterans, and just a little nervous. He had trouble, dealing with that anxiety, right? And where he's come from, at this point where you're seeing me having this mound visit last year to the mound visits this year, totally different, because he's grown so much as a human being and as a baseball player. I couldn't be more proud of him.
A 3.24 ERA for Alec this year. Unbelievable. So, Brian, of course, you started, we'll get to your playing career in a bit. You were with the Mariners, of course.
That should be a quick segment.
played in Japan. We're not done with this stuff yet. Started with the Phillies as a pitching coach in the 2015 season. 2016-17, you were with their single A affiliate. What was that like? Because it's kind of cool. In a way, we had a little bit of like a career, I was when I was in television, I was going to small markets trying to climb the ladder. Kind of the same thing with you, both in playing and then even on the coaching, managing side. You had to climb the ladder and go to some of these small cities, small leagues. What was the Gulf Coast League like for you in 2015 and then single A? I mean, dude, you're living the lap of luxury now. You're a major leaguer. What was it like climbing that ladder 9 years ago on the coaching side?
Yeah, that transition is a really interesting one. In 2014, I was 39. I was still playing in AAA, so I had plenty of minor league time already as a player, which I think set me up for my journey in coaching. I hurt my elbow in August of 2013. I tried to rehab it for 10 months. I had to make sure. I had to turn over every stone and make sure that my playing days were done. Even though I was in AAA, baseball's fun. I didn't want to stop playing. Even though I was 39 and I was in AAA, I'm like, I could do this for a few more years. And my wife dealt with me. Oh, there's me at All-Stars.
Yeah,
it's like those pants are from 1990 as well, late 90s.
You got some oldies there, dude.
Yeah, I got some old ones on there, and so I ended up coming home and rehabbing my elbow. We got to June, and I needed to pitch, so I ended up pitching in the Albany Twilight League.
Wow, what year was this? 2015.
This is 2014.
Okay.
The summer of 2014. I had to find out if my elbow was ready. I threw 3 innings. And it was not good. I went home. I had a big bump. I had a tear in my elbow, 70% tear in the ligament. It was time to be done. But the best part that happened after I pitched, the manager of the team said, "Hey, do you want to play another position? I know you can't pitch. Do you want to play outfield?" I said, "Sure, why not?" I was ready for a major league season, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll play." I fell in love with the game all over again. Playing in the Albany Twilight League and also in the Capital District Men's Over 33 Baseball League, which was incredible. I was playing double headers on the weekend. I was sliding, I was stealing, I was hitting, coming in a dirty uniform, getting mad when we got rained out. I realized, playing that summer with a bunch of guys from the Capital District, I fell in love with the game. And I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that's how I got my transition into coaching. And when I sent out my resume to a bunch of people, I didn't have a resume, right? I was playing for 18 years. Baseball doesn't typically do resumes at the time. So I had to build one, send it out. Only 2 teams got back to me. For a coaching job. I was like, wow, this is challenging. And I didn't know which way to go. I'm like, well, the Phillies were the first to get back to me. They got right back to me. I said, I owe it to them. I said, I'd like to be a part of that organization because they jumped on it quickly. And they said, you're going to go to the Gulf Coast League all the way at the bottom. So, okay, let's do it. So I'm at the complex. I think everybody that joins the professional ranks should start at the complex. You learn so much. You have to deal with different cultures. You got to deal with a huge staff, 20-something pitchers. You have major leaguers coming in and out. You have a lot of action. You have to help develop systems and programs to make these guys better. I became a better coach because I went to the Gulf Coast League. And this is at a time when there was no data in the organization just yet. So I went from there and then went to Lakewood, New Jersey, which was great. I could drive 3 hours home when I wanted to, see my daughter play lacrosse at Catholic High, or see my younger daughter dance, at a recital. I could drive home if need be, and going to taking 16-hour bus rides. There we go. We got the Blue Claws. That's my first time really on the road again as a coach. I had some really cool managers that I got to work for in the Phillies organization. We went from Lakewood, New Jersey, all the way to Rome, Georgia on a bus.
Oh my gosh!
I wouldn't suggest it. I definitely wouldn't suggest it. You learn a lot about yourself and what you want to do in life on a 16-hour bus ride. Thank goodness every once in a while we'd have a cooler between the manager and I. We'd enjoy a beverage, get some work done. And build some culture, a winning culture for the guys. So getting off a bus, I think that took years off my life, those 2 years, but it was a whole lot of fun. We had some fun together, and then, I had the opportunity to move to Cleveland, after that second year, really lucky to get to talk to Terry Francona and have him ask me to be a part of his staff. And I actually, because of the Phillies, I like to say I'm loyal. Now I've changed teams twice. How loyal am I really? But it's, when I was with the Phillies, I'm like, I like what we're trying to build here. I really do. But now I have a Hall of Fame manager asking me to be on his staff. I think it would be irresponsible to me and my family not considering this. And what a blessing. I went from a place where I cut my teeth in coaching with no data, having coaches around me that have been in the game a long time that taught me how to coach and communicate with all different types of players, to a place where there was innovation and analytics, just really creative in how they do things. So I get to see both sides of it. I got to learn in my 5 years in Cleveland and decide that, wow, I think the best way of doing this is combining the experience and innovation to help make a team better. So my journey through both of those organizations and through the Capital District baseball, that helped me fall in love with, has helped me grow into the coach I am today.
Awesome journey as you climb the ladder with the Phillies, the Gulf Coast League, and then you get to be with Cleveland, the bullpen coach in 2019, and then obviously get the gig with Kansas City in December of 22. Brian, let's go back to your playing career, because obviously you're in this position that you're in now because you have some experience in the big leagues. You played in the majors, you played in Japan, 7-8 year career. Take us back to that, and I'm going to throw up some photos here of you and in your playing days. This is probably a pretty cool. I know this is a cool picture for you. Let me show it to you right here. This is you when you were with Seattle at Yankee Stadium, right? How cool is that? I know your family got to be there for this, but that's you coming into the game against the Yankees back in the day. Oh, you had a nice ERA. I think you had a 0 ERA back then in 4 games.
In 4 innings. Yeah, that's a small sample
2 games.
size.
That's all right.
I think it definitely went up as the year went on. Yeah, that was a fun trip. I think that probably 2010. I came back from Japan, and my family hadn't seen me play. Being gone in Japan, it's challenging to see your family, and I had a whole bunch of people at the game, and boy, we had a good time. got to go out after and, get to see everybody. So that was exciting. Yeah.
And there you are with Seattle. Obviously, your last couple of years with the Mariners, you started with the Padres. How did you end up in Japan for what, 4 years playing
3 years,
there?
3.
How many? 3. Okay.
Yep.
How did that come about, and what was that like from a cultural perspective? And then just because baseball is very different there on a lot of levels.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's I'm so lucky that I had the opportunity to go there. I mean, each part of my journey as a player, when I was going halfway decent or if I stunk, has all turned me into the coach that I am today. A big change was going over to Japan, and that happened when I got sent down. I pitched in. That's a fun time, getting the girls on the field. I was pitching at the major league level with the Padres. I had a really rough day, and we had to make a transaction. They sent me down. I ended up making a start in Omaha. Go figure, which is the AAA affiliate for
the Royals, right?
The Royals, right?
Yep.
And some scouts from Japan were there to see our first baseman, John Knott. And wouldn't you know, I started that day. That was my first outing since I came back from the big leagues, and I had a good day. And I put them. I was on their radar, and they ended up after I was designated for assignment at the end of the year. They wanted me to come over, and that was a tough decision too, right? You grow up wanting to be a major leaguer, but when somebody comes offering a guaranteed contract to a mediocre pitcher, well, I didn't think I was mediocre at the time, but the major leagues did, and it was something that I was excited about doing. I'd played in Venezuela in winter ball. I'd played in the Dominican Republic for winter ball. Japan sounded like an amazing experience, and it was. Boy, did I learn so much about baseball, about the culture in Japan, how incredible that country is. My kids got to go to school over there for a little while. Really a lot of fun. With my experience over there. I got to play with Yu Darvish over there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
He was 19 when I got over there, and one of the top 5 pitchers I've ever seen. He's just won his 200th game between Japan and the United States. Just the impact he's had there's amazing baseball players over there. It's still 60 feet, 6 inches, 90 feet between the bases, right? It's all the same. They go about their business maybe in a little bit different way, just like somebody from the Dominican Republic would, or somebody from Venezuela, right? But we're all playing the same game, and there's some high caliber players coming over from Japan, as you know.
How, Brian, what was it like living there? I mean, honestly, I've talked to my wife. It's very expensive. We'd love to go there. I'm a huge sushi fan. I just love that culture as well. What was that like being there? And you mentioned your family moved with you there for a couple of years.
They did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. If you like sushi, if you like sashimi and Japanese food, if you go over there and have some and you come back here, you'll never eat it again here because the food, amazing. The Japanese food is amazing. But they also have excellent chefs that cook good Italian food.
Wow.
Good Mexican food. So we got that experience. Well, food from Korea as well. Just really a tremendous culture. I would say if anybody had the opportunity to vacation in a different parts of Japan, Tokyo's awesome, right? But there's other parts in northern Japan, like in Hokkaido, in Sapporo, where Sapporo beer is from, Sapporo beer, that, that's an incredible area. The fish is amazing. Then you go over to, the western part of Japan, and you're getting different cuisines. I couldn't be more blessed to have that opportunity to play there, to grow as a person, grow as a baseball player, and then ultimately help me as a coach.
Brian, we're going to I just have a couple more questions for you. I really appreciate you taking the time. This has been awesome today. You played for Italy in the World Baseball Classic in 2013. You were a pitching coach for Italy as well. How was that experience in the WBC, both as a player and then on the coaching side?
Wow, what an amazing that atmosphere in 2013. We had a pretty good team. Got to the second round, had a chance to move on. What year is it? This one? I think I was a coach at this time.
Yeah, I think you might have been a coach
Yeah,
here.
that's Oliver
Is
Perez.
that Bob Oliver Perez, the former Met, right?
Yep, Oliver, a
Yeah.
former teammate of mine when I was with Seattle. I think we're pointing at our families up in the stands somewhere.
That's
just
cool.
like a good person, like everybody. That the baseball community that's a part. A lot of people know each other, and then competing. For your country, for a heritage that's a big part of your family. You wonder how Brian Sweeney is on the Italian team, right? With that name. Well,
yeah. Explain that, dude.
I do have a mother with a last name Spinella. So, you have two parents. So, Sweeney's dad, Spinella's my mom. I have family that was from Sicily. And, really lucky to be a part of that, to pitch in that. Pitching in it, way easier than coaching in it. I'm going to tell you that much, because
really
work that go. Yeah. Because you gotta move quick and fast to scout these teams and to get the information you need to prepare the pitchers. But these guys just got to play, right? Which is the fun part. Coaching, man, that gave me a headache, figuring out who's going to pitch, because you have restrictions, on how many pitches that can be thrown, how many days rest. What a challenge it was.
How many guys spoke Italian on the team? I know you had a bunch of Americans that had, like you, that had the Italian heritage. Was there a communication issue at all, or did you not have many true Italian?
There were true. There was about five true Italians, but a lot of them spoke English, and if they didn't, we had a translator there that worked for us. And right before I was asked again last year. What was it? 2 years ago in 23, the World Baseball Classic. I was asked again by the manager Mike Piazza to be the pitching coach. I unfortunately had to step down because I got the job with Kansas City.
Right.
That was really hard, right? Because I went to Italy. We had like a whole bunch of the players came over. We came together to try to build a camaraderie. Had a really nice trip and was preparing for that. And then all of a sudden, on my way home, I found out I had an interview with the Royals. So I had to get off a plane from Italy. The next morning, get on a plane to Kansas City to interview. Fooled them, like I said before, got the job, and had to step down in December, not soon after, from the job with Team Italy, which was really, really hard. Some of the guys give me a lot of crap for it, like Vinny Pasquantino, who was playing on a team, said we let him down. I abandoned him. But I thought my being around for the pitchers with the Kansas City Royals was probably the right thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not your agent nor your financial advisor, but and your personal advisor, but that's probably not a horrible idea, Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're obviously, the guys from Italy were ribbing you a little bit. They knew you made the right move as well, of course. Brian, one thing I find so fascinating, I think this is why a lot of these like documentaries on Netflix and, the Hard Knocks, the NFL, sort of the behind the scenes. I've always loved that. And I've interviewed you a bunch of times, and I always ask you sort of, and I love the fact you're so open about this stuff. Obviously not giving away locker room, the locker room inside stuff, but I just love the behind the scenes of major leagues and like what you guys do on a daily basis. So what is like a day in the life of Brian Sweeney? What does it consist of? Take me through that, the waking up, the going to the ballpark. Like I want to live vicariously through your life, man.
Sometimes I don't know what day it is. Baseball, when you have a night game, right? There's certain things you do throughout the day, and then you wake up and you do it again, and you still play on the weekends, right? Sometimes we have 13 games in a row coming up. I'm not going to know what day is going to it's going to be, so after our next off day, we got 13 in a row. We got 2 days off in a month, which is, that's quite challenging. That's a little challenging, going through the major league season, with, June, we're playing the Yankees, we're playing Cleveland, we're playing the Dodgers, we're playing some quality teams, and we're going to be right in it. We're going to be going through this fight. And the day, if we have, there's usually a 3-game series that we're going through. And day one of a series really challenging. You're preparing, we're preparing for the Padres right now. We have a game tonight, but we have to make preparations for the Padres. So you're always doing that. You're constantly doing work, on the computer to prepare for that. But we have a game to win tonight. So day one of a series, we have I'm doing computer work, and it's boring stuff that you probably it's not real exciting in the hotel room or at home, right? I'm on a computer, I'm doing different things. You chat with the family, get some lunch, get a workout in. But when you get to the ballpark, I'll get to the ballpark usually around 12 o'clock for a night game, 6:40, 7 o'clock game. I'm at the ballpark, and we start our day. When the clubhouse opens, typically at 1 o'clock, we have our daily meeting with the pitching team, right? We go over the night before. We talk about how we can get guys better, how we can develop player plans for these guys. And, while we're sitting there, we have guys that think differently. We have some diversity of thought, which I think is really important, right? We butt heads about things, which is great. And the cool part is we can butt heads and then have a beer after the game together. And because we're trying to help guys get better. Then, we get, we get all that work done. We get the meetings done. We might have meetings with pitchers to go over, have an AAR with the pitcher from the last night's game. And then, you're getting into, there's plenty of locker room banter. If you could imagine, a lot of sarcasm. We have a really cool coaching staff, guys that make me laugh every day. And I'm so grateful for that, because I needed it last year when we were getting our butts kicked, where we can keep humor even in a tough environment where you're getting your teeth kicked in. Then we're doing our on-field work, where the guys have their throwing program. We're designing different exercises for their throwing program, whether it's plyos or baseballs. We got bullpens, guys that need support. We got all the technology, putting all of that together, which is a whole nother world. If you've seen Edgertronic video, and it really amazing, where you can help tweak guys in the moment and make them better. And you go inside, get a bite to eat, chat, have a meeting with the manager about the game plan and what it's going to look like. That always changes in game, rarely ever stays the way we'd like it, but that's baseball. We adapt and adjust. And then next thing you know, we got the game is here. And, when that national anthem comes on, it's like you put your lid on, and it's go time. So it's and you let the guys play.
Brian, I've always, actually, this is a question my wife and I have actually talked about, because she kind of likes this stuff too. Like, when you're in New York, right, playing the Yankees, you don't have to tell us what hotel you guys stay at, but you guys take a bus to the state. Do you stay near? Because I always found it fascinating. Like, where the heck do you stay in Manhattan? Or are you in the Bronx? You in Manhattan? Then you guys take a bus? Like, how does that work? You know what I mean?
We stay in Midtown, and we take a bus, which is a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. So every once in a while, I'll take the subway.
Because it takes a long time, right, to get to.
Especially with the traffic. Yeah, it's really a pain. But
do you have a heart palpitation that you guys are like when you're driving somewhere with the track, like you're going to be late? See, that would freak me out, dude, because I'm anal retentive like that, right? Seriously.
These bus drivers, they're from New York. They know what they're doing.
Right.
They absolutely, these guys can haul ass through the streets. They're really, really good at their job. Think of a New York driver. These bus drivers are right on top of it. But if I feel like there's a lot of traffic, I'll take some of the coaches. We'll jump on the subway.
How about when you're home, or when you're probably driving to the ballpark only when you're at home? That's probably not a big deal, because you kind of know the traffic patterns and all that stuff, right?
If I'm getting there at 12 o'clock, if I miss the game, it's at 6:10.
There's a problem.
There's a huge traffic jam.
Right.
That's for sure. I could probably walk there.
Right.
All the time.
All right, Brian, I want to show you this before we let you go, because I find this is hilarious. All right, so I dug up some old Brian Sweeney baseball cards. Okay, and we are going to find these here right now. Here we go. Okay, before we do that, though, wait 1 second. Talk to me about Talk to me about Bobby. What is Bobby Witt like? Because Bobby Witt Jr., we should say, 11 years, almost a $300 million contract. You talked about the Royals ownership spending the money. They did. They put their money where their mouth is. They have this young guy in his third year, and they upped him for 11 years. First of all, that's got to make you so fired up, knowing that you're part of an organization that makes that commitment. But then you watch him play. He's just unbelievable. What's it like being in a clubhouse with him and just being around Witt Jr.?
Yeah, baseball fans should be proud that the Royals stepped up and signed Bobby to that contract. He's deserving of a contract like that. If you hang around this guy each day, you'd be amazed at how down to earth and human he is. I don't know if you saw last year, Samad Taylor got a game-winning hit. A rookie. We didn't have many game-winning hits last year, right? He hits it over to center fielder's head. We win the game. Bobby runs out. The center fielder left the ball. Bobby ran out and got the ball and ran it back to Samad, saying, "Here's the ball for that you just hit." And that's the type of guy Bobby is. He cares about his teammates. He cares about the front office. He cares about the coaches. Really down to earth and fun to be around. If anybody's deserving of a contract like that, it's Bobby. He's an elite player in this game. I got to see Jose Ramirez do his thing in Cleveland.
Yep.
Another elite player. These guys are fun to watch. And when guys like those two get contracts like that, I know it's a lot of money, but that's just what the going rate is, right?
Yep.
It is what it is.
Exactly.
You should be proud that you give Bobby Witt that kind of money because you want that guy around for a long time.
All right. I had to ask you about Witt because I love the guy.
Awesome.
I love him. All right. Let me, Brian, let me show you. We're going to end on this because I think this is awesome.
Where is that?
All right. So these are your, hang on. These are your baseball card. Some of this, hold on, let me get to the page.
Must be in the bottom of somebody's closet. That's probably where they are.
I found this. These are old baseball cards of Brian Sweeney. This is your upper deck, worth $138, dude. Okay.
Whoever pays that's getting ripped off.
All right. I'll
give you one for free.
I'll take them. I ain't scared. I'll display them in the office with a little B. Sweeney autograph. Here's a throwback to the 52 card. That's worth $369, man.
Whoa. I'll tell you.
And then here's a nice one.
Oh.
This one is an upper deck. That's going for $428.
What a ripoff. Somebody's trying to rip you off on that one.
You got an upper deck silver for $342. The trio prospects. Where are you? You're right here in the middle, right? Aaron Looper, Rhett Johnson.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know those guys.
Yeah,
right?
two guys I played with. Yeah.
Yeah. That's $168. Here's your Lakewood Blue Claws. What are you, a pitching coach there for the? Yep. Yeah. And then, that's not you.
Got to work on my posture and in my pitching coach position. Who's that? Was that Kazazaki? That bottom one.
That was Shibakusa. I don't know why that came up on your page, but
maybe because I played in Japan.
Yeah, so I found that to be really fun. I was just Googling your baseball cards, and that's what I came up with. Do you have your own baseball cards, by the way?
So I've been given a whole bunch of them. That usually when you get a card, they give you some,
right?
So I do have a few, and a lot of times I tell the kids that we have a dartboard. I'm like, put my baseball card up there and throw a dart at us. See if you can hit me in the neck or something like that. But it is cool, right? I grew up with baseball cards. Looking at the back of baseball cards, eating the gum that didn't last long enough, the flavor. But it's and I think about I have Don Mattingly's 1984 card, Topps
the Donruss. I have that too. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, I get to see him now, right? Because he's a coach with Toronto, right? You get to meet guys like this. I'm like, man, I had your poster on my wall in Yonkers, New York, when you were at the Yankees. So it's like, it's really, I get to be around a lot of people, a lot of cool people, some good baseball players, which is, really exciting, and get to learn from them too, right? Terry Francona had been in baseball 1,000 years. That old bum, he probably laugh at that, and to see how he does things. I'm constantly learning. I'm new to this position as a pitching coach. Not easy, right? Putting yourself in a leadership position. It's not that you have to do less; it's you have to do more, right? You are responsible for the guys around you, including the pitching team itself. You want to help make them better. The coaches around me, they want to be pitching coaches one day, right? So I want to help them achieve those dreams too. So there's more responsibility. So it's really, you don't want to take a minute off for these guys. You want to be there. You want to show up. You want to be authentic, honest, and consistent each day.
Brian, my last question: you played in the majors. You are a pitching coach for the Royals. Do you, especially now you're in Minnesota, you're about to go to a ball game. Do you sometimes just like pinch yourself and go, how is this real?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just even having the opportunity to come out of Mercy College, now Mercy University, by the way, just in case anybody wanted to know that, Mercy University Mavericks, they getting the opportunity to be signed out of Mercy College to play independent league, which is not the best route if you want to be a major leaguer coming out of college, and spend 7 years in the minors, get the opportunity in the big leagues, play in Japan, play winter ball, play for Team Italy. Really, I was being set up to coach, playing the Albany Twilight League. All these little parts of my journey have set me up to have the opportunity to coach for the Kansas City Royals. And I was driving to Vermont. I think it was Thanksgiving weekend after my interview with the Royals. And Connie was in the car. We were driving to see some friends when I got the call about how they wanted to offer me the job as the pitching coach.
Oh my gosh.
Have Connie next to me because we're on speakerphone, right? Because I'm not going to talk on the phone while I'm driving. We'll be responsible. And, they said, we'd like to offer you the job as the pitching coach for the Kansas City Royals. And, I could still see that in my mind. It's like, wait, is this real? And then every once in a while, I gotta kick myself and say, I have a really cool job. I'm at a place where I'm comfortable in a way that I love it. I don't need to be a manager. I don't need to go to another team. I'm not looking to climb the ladder. Never was. This is a great place to be. I have good people around me. We have a good team. We have good systems. I have the best job in the world. Why would I want to move on? I'm in a place where I hope I can retire. I love being around here. Win or lose, right? We got good people in place. And then when you go through a fight together like that, you can make something special happen.
What an awesome way to end it. Really great story. Brian, one thing I do love about you is you have such a unique perspective, and I think you get it. You understand you're blessed. You're in a great spot, and it's, I root for you. And I know everyone here in the Capital Region roots for you as well. And Matt and the Royals, I know everyone has their teams around here, but it's an awesome, special 518 connection. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and joining me. I really do.
No, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that we could catch up, talk some baseball, and maybe have some more Royals fans in the Capital District, right? If you have a connection with Matt or I, it's not like all the Yankee fans and Met fans, the Boston fans. There's more of a connection. You should join up, jump on the bandwagon with us.
I'm there, man. I am absolutely there. Brian, I'm gonna sign off here in a sec. I want to wish you good luck. Appreciate you joining me. And I want to thank everyone out there for joining me as well. It's Sound Off with Sync Off, sponsored by the Sync Off Realty Group. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Make sure you give us a subscribe, and I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.